No, sometimes it's your plugins that are actually ruining your mix. So let me show you guys. If you double click on your vocal, send it to a mixer preset, mixer channel. So most people, firstly, here's the first step. They send the volume into the mixer way too loud. So here's the default sound. I have a limiter on, so it's going to make it a little bit louder. But
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes.
now, there's no magical level. The goal is just to leave room. Think about headroom like space on a computer. If you don't have space on your computer, you can't save big files like videos and plugins and all that. So think about headroom as just space. Even my vocal right now hits about -7 with the plugins that I have on it. Now this vocal is sitting at -6. So what we need to do is just pull it back a little bit so that we have room to add our own plugins. And if we do need more volume, we can always go back and push it into the plugins. So the first step is turning stuff down, ironically. So let's turn this vocal down.
I knew you were dangerous.
Now again, there's no magical number. It's just how much space do you need for processing, okay?
I knew you.
So we're at -12 for now, okay? It's just a rough spot to start. Now, most people use way too many plugins. And the first plugin you folks use a lot is denoisers, like doublers, and a lot of compression. So the main plugin you really need on vocals is just a compressor. Unless there's a poor recording to where you have a lot of background noise, I would just recommend the GIK Acoustic PIB called Portable Isolation Booth. I was recommended that by Mixbus TV. It makes my vocal sound really clean with my acoustic treatment that I have back there. Okay, so that's the first thing is getting a clean recording.
I knew.
Second thing is getting your vocal compressed so you could pull up the level.
I knew you were dangerous.
So it depends on the genre, but rap, you're going for a fast attack. Longer genres like ballad type stuff, you might want to do a slow attack. That way they can become more expressive, okay, throughout their phrasing without getting clamped down. But for like rap R&B, you're probably gonna have a fast attack.
I knew you.
4-to-1 is fine. You could also do higher than that. You don't have to use like what everybody tells you is to compress only a little bit. Sometimes compressing a lot has a sound.
I knew you.
So I'll overly compress this just so you can hear the sound.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes. I knew you were dangerous.
And most of the sound that you hear on modern records are actually compressed a lot. You just might not know that. So the thing here is that though it pulls out the quality of the recording. You can start to hear the background noise.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time
You can hear the room in the back.
I knew you were dangerous.
Now you got to remember you're mixing in context. So even though the room might be there, it might not be audible in context.
I knew you were dangerous.
So we're compressing what, 20 dB here?
I knew you were dangerous.
But it still sounds good. So don't like limit yourself to underly compressing, because I used to make that mistake of only compressing 4 dB. And my sound was never that sound that I was going for.
I knew you.
So don't be afraid to compress. First lesson here. And compression is going to give you that good starting point.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes. I knew you were dangerous.
Lower threshold means you're going to pull up more tone for the most part.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes. I knew you.
My job is just to make this feel more even so that it's less up and down.
I knew you were dangerous.
Because that's going to let the beat be perceived as more dynamic. Second thing you're going to need for your vocal chain is an EQ. Now, EQing after compressor, okay? Because now I'm trying to shape the tone.
I knew you.
So I'm going to quickly move here.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes.
If you want to add like perceived height, try to boost high frequencies.
I knew you were dangerous.
Like about 5K and above.
I knew you were dangerous.
It just makes the vocal feel taller for some reason.
I knew you were dangerous from the.
Now, this vocal doesn't have a lot of boominess like my voice does.
I knew you were.
So we're going to actually enhance the fundamental frequency, the lowest frequency.
I knew you were dangerous.
And this is to add that weight back to the sound.
I knew you were dangerous.
So it's a range. It's not just one frequency, it's a range. It goes, I knew you. Okay, so that's a pretty wide range.
I knew you.
So we're going to tap into that middle zone.
I knew you were dangerous.
And now we got to find the zone where it's like,
I knew you were dangerous.
Kind of like the nasal zone, even though he's not a nasal sound.
I knew you were dangerous.
Just going to tame that a little bit. It's microscopic editing. So the zone people don't check most of the time is 700 hertz. This is an area where a lot of resonance can build up.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes. I knew.
Now, because he has a good recording, we don't need to overly edit the vocal. That's really all you need is compression and EQ. Everything else after that point is just an addition. I could go through every single technique in this video, but I just wanted to show you how sometimes we're just overly adding plugins. And one last thing for people who are recording artists, try to separate your effects like reverb onto a different channel and then send as a duplicate or parallel your vocal over to this. So what I'll show you here is, now most DAWs, they do this for you. FL, you have to set it up yourself. So we have the vocal here, and then we're going to send the vocal to the reverb.
I knew you.
So I'm sending a duplication of that vocal over to a different channel called reverb.
I knew you.
And this allows you to control the amount.
I knew you were dangerous from the first time I looked in your eyes. I knew you.
And this is creating that perceived dimension. So there's a lot of things we can get into. I just wanted to show you guys that sometimes you're using too many plugins on your vocal. You don't need a bunch of plugins. Really, truly, you need compression, EQ. Everything else is just added stuff. And if your vocals don't have that, like if the quality of the recording's bad, look into the GIK acoustic portable isolation booth. And I also have some of their acoustic panels put on top just to pad the top. Okay, so that's going to fix a lot of the problems more than adding more plugins. All right, peace out, guys. Actually, if you want a free mixing course, go to premium.busyworksbeats.com. We have a new course called Mixing Fundamentals. So you can learn how to mix there. Compression, EQ, saturation, reverb, delay, clipping, how to make stuff loud. You can learn that there. Peace out, guys. I'll leave a link below.